guys, it's Sam from Nonfiction Horror. Today's video is going to be my favorite survival horror video games. Now, I don't play games often, but when I do, this is the genre I always go towards. I'm always looking for the newest release. Now, I am by no means a gamer. Most of the time, games give me a headache, they move around too much, and I'm just over it. I don't have a long attention span when it comes to video games. But these are the exception to the rule because I love scary video games. I believe that not only do you feel like you are more involved and like you truly are playing the game, they kind of have some cool effects afterwards, meaning like I tend to sometimes get nightmares, and if you're anything like me, sometimes nightmares are actually kind of fun. So let's get started into my favorite video games. First one would be Slenderman: The Arrival. Now, once again, this might not be really scary to you. The game is all first person, so you are constantly walking around trying to find clues in notebook pages that belong to this notebook, and once you find all the pages, then you find out the answer and how to find Slenderman or kill him. It's really kind of not clear. It's just more diary entries more than anything. It's always very nighttime that you're kind of like rummaging around the woods, you're walking around, and then you can always kind of see Slenderman at a distance. It's not till you kind of hear his footsteps and that your kind of screen gets really blurry and really glitchy, and then it starts to lag a little bit, that you notice that he is more than likely right around the corner, and by the time you turn, he's right there and you die. So for me, I played this game with my boyfriend and my brother. We had like a little demo version. We started playing it and we turned off all the lights, and it's so quiet, and there's no sound, there's no music, there's hardly any sound. Only pretty much just walking steps is all you hear throughout the whole game. There is no dialogue, so you really do get kind of sucked into this game and you're totally focused on it. That's why I'd say this game is a little bit scary, because it is really quiet. If you have your lights turned off, it can be really spooky. Slenderman, I recommend that game if you're looking for something maybe a little bit more tame, something to have a few friends over and just kind of spook yourself. I definitely recommend Slenderman: The Arrival. The second game that I have played that I love this franchise more than anything, I think they are absolutely amazing. It is the Silent Hill games. Now specifically, I'm talking about Silent Hill Downpour. That's the last one that I played, and I believe the most recent one that they have made. They were gonna make Silent Hills with Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead. Got postponed, and I think canceled almost, which is ridiculous because there's already such a limited amount of survival horror games, and Silent Hill is a great franchise, even though they've kind of gone downhill more recently. No pun intended, but other than that, they really are good games. And so I'm really bummed that they don't have that, because I love Norman Reedus and I think he'd be a great character for that game. I really wouldn't say this game is scary, but once again, it has that sense of you're kind of alone the whole game, so there's not any kind of break in the tension. You're just constantly walking, constantly searching alone. It's always raining, so it kind of has that like gloomy feel the whole time, and you're going into houses. You have like a flashlight, and you kind of have to use just whatever's next to you, albeit it might just be a flashlight or a broom, and you have to beat off these demon girl zombies that kind of come out of nowhere. There's this one section of the game where he goes into like this warehouse chamber jail. It's like an abandoned jail, but there's still people there. But that part was probably the most the most difficult, because you're constantly just walking around and you have to find keys. And that's one complicated thing about this game, is that there's not really a lot of help. There's no hints. It's really just open layout where you kind of just have to search and search and search to find a clue that you hope maybe will lead you to something. It's not really like, I mean, yeah, they do have plot points like go find this key, but they don't really kind of give you much direction. Honestly, there might be a map, but it's not like where if you play, you know, Call of Duty or Destiny, it tells you where exactly you need to go and how many like feet and meters away that they are. Nope, you're just hoping that you find something along the way. So anyways, that part in the jail was pretty much the most creepy because it goes on for so long, or maybe I just suck at video games and it took me forever to figure it out. Like I said, it doesn't really seem like a scary game, but just after playing it for so long, it kind of gets into your psyche a little bit, and I just feel like that's part of the whole Silent Hill franchise, is that there are some really creepy parts, but it's more the setting and the surroundings that kind of really mess with you, and that if you play them late at night, I feel like you're guaranteed to at least get one nightmare. So the next game that I like to play, which don't laugh at me, but I thought it was really scary when it first came out, and that is Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, when my little brother told me about this game, he's like, there's this really creepy game that you can play on your phone. So I was totally all down when he told me. I'm like, what is it? I want to play it. And he's like, well, there's this chicken and there's this fox. I remember laughing at him. I'm like, you're kidding me. There's a chicken and a fox and it's a scary game. He's like, no. You don't even understand. You just gotta play it. So I remember he showed it to me and we were in his bedroom and he's like, shh, don't tell mom I have this game. I'm like, I won't. And so we started playing it and I ended up going home later that day and I purchased it. And so once again, like everything that has to do with anything scary, I like to play in the dark, under the covers, with headphones, because that totally changes the game. I truly believe that nothing is really scary if you're playing it with people around you or out, you know, on a sunny day. This game solely relies on jump scares, and so for me, I believe jump scares are kind of a cop-out. Whether it's in movies or video games, it's super annoying. But in this case, I think it works. Because for the most part, what it is that, you know, if you haven't heard of Five Nights at Freddy's, you're pretty much just working at this abandoned mechanical Chuck E. Cheese, and so you're the security guard and you're constantly checking the cameras, which for me was kind of like, it was alright. I didn't really like checking the cameras all the time, but you know, you're kind of checking where the characters are, and then you have to go back to your room and constantly be closing the side doors just to make sure that they're not coming in. But for me, the scariest part of that game was the fox. The fox freaks me out when you're checking the cameras and you see the hallway and he's running down the hallway, because you know the minute you click back to your office, he's already going to be there jumping up at you. And so it was just that inevitable feeling of dread, like, okay, when I click back, he's gonna be right there, and every time I would still jump like, ah, he got me. I had two more games. The next one is Until Dawn, and so this one I wouldn't necessarily say is scary. I just think that it does have a lot of fear-based kind of scenarios, meaning I absolutely loved the idea of that you choose literally everything. I believe that was a great, that was something new that I've never seen before, where you truly are in control of your own destiny and all of your friends. So what it is, it's like 6 students are going to this abandoned cabin in the woods that one of their family members owns, of course, and while they're all kind of hanging out, these burglars break in. So of course they all kind of scatter throughout the woods. So you're kind of taking place in different storylines. You're playing as, like, you're not really playing as 6 different people, but you kind of are, because like I said, they kind of break away to different storylines throughout the game. So for me, it was really fun because there will be points when maybe you're running in the woods being chased, and it will ask you, do you want to go left or do you want to go right? And so you'll be like, okay, you have like 5 seconds to choose, so you're like, I'll go right. And then when that happens, it's like, okay, do you want to hide or do you want to go left? And then so you're like, I'll hide. And then sometimes just by choosing that, you end up dying. So there really is no specific formula how you win. Every game is totally different, which is also cool, because the minute I finished the game, I was like, well, I want to play again. What other options are there? What other options could I have picked? Who else could have survived? Who else could have died? So to me, it's a game that's maybe, when it first came out, I think it was like $50. I think it's probably only like 20 now or 30, but I totally think this game is worth it because you can literally play, I think there's like 1,000 different scenarios of how it could end. So just that alone is you'll definitely get your money's worth, because you can play and have a different ending every single time. Lastly, we have probably the least survival horror. It's more just a survival shooter, I guess you could say, and that is Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 is what I played, but the Resident Evil franchise. Now, when I look up survival horror games, Resident Evil always pops up, which to me, it is not survival horror. You're basically just basically killing zombies or people who are like monsters who are disformed. By no means is that scary to me. These are not something that's going to keep me up at night or mess with my mind or make me kind of freaked out. It wasn't really a scary game, but it is classified under survival horror. So for me, the whole Resident Evil series is just kind of It's basically, if you want a shooter game that's not super shooter game where that's all that they do, there is more of a storyline, there is more of a plot. But I wouldn't really go back, and I didn't play Resident Evil 6 because same thing, it was like a zombie outbreak, and I'm so sick of zombie outbreaks, or there's a virus, or we have to find the cure. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on my favorite survival horror games. I know these are a little bit tame, but honestly, there's not a lot to choose from unless you have PC. I'm so jealous of maybe one day I'll invest in a really nice computer so I can play PC games, because I know there are so many more options, and I'm totally jealous because the graphics are a lot better, because the graphics in a lot of the games that I mentioned are absolute shit. They're still kind of really pixelated. I do appreciate the games, like I said, for what they are, but I do know the PC game detailing is just absolutely amazing. But if you do have any PS4 recommendations or iPhone games that you recommend, leave them down below. I'm totally always open to playing new survival horror games, and although I know that Doom is recommended, I don't once again consider that to be scary. That's more of a shooter game. I know they recommend BioShock as survival horror. Once again, I don't classify that as really survival horror. I have played a little bit of it, and for me, it just didn't meet the mark. So like I said, if you have any more that are a little bit more scary, where you're kind of running from somebody or trapped, or it's kind of messed up like Silent Hill, that's really what I'm looking for. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!